150 tweets in 2 hours. 150 tweets in 2 hours. That must be a record. That is what Elon Musk did in order to kill the bipartisan continuing resolution that would have our government continue to be funded until March. Now, I'm looking around. I don't know if y'all have checked your milk cartons, but does anybody know where Donald Trump is? And does he know that there is a new MAGA king in the house? Welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show, which is being brought to you in the United States of dystopia. Because, folks, what the fuck is going on? I need to shout out Congresswoman Ilhan Omar for posting this right before I came on air on Blue Sky. And can you all find a more accurate representation of where we are right now? 150 tweets Elon Musk fired off in order to kill the bipartisan continuing resolution that would have the government funded through March. Key word being, friends, bipartisan. Now, Elon Musk does not give not one good goddamn fuck. And that is evident. But what I find really interesting right now is that he tweeted all day, right? Yesterday, Donald Trump did not send out a message on the continuing resolution, on the government shutdown until Wednesday night. So is Donald Trump MIA? Is Elon Musk the new MAGA king? What exactly is going on? And so here we go. That what Elon Musk doesn't like is apparently not going to happen. And as it reads here, Musk kills government funding deal, demands shutdown until Trump is sworn in, which, by the way, folks, is not for over a month. And this is what Elon Musk has said in one of his crazy ass round of tweets that he put out, which is this. Yes. Just close down the government until January 20th. Defund everything. We will be fine for 33 days. Let me pause you right there, Elon Musk. Because in shutting down the government, you stop people's paychecks from coming in. And it is, I don't know, just a handful of days until the Christmas holiday, the Hanukkah holidays, right? And I'm just confused about when he says, quote, we will be fine for 33 days. You will be fine, fucking greedy ass oligarch billionaire, because you're sitting on $400 billion. You're not waiting on somebody to hand you a check so that you can put food on your table, so that you can provide presents to your family during the holidays. This is the equivalent of let them eat cake. Because again, Elon Musk does not actually know how government works, nor does he actually give a shit. Because what we are seeing is that Elon Musk cares deeply about power. And that since Donald Trump won the election, this man has been pulling the strings of Donald Trump. Now, my question, y'all, my question is this. How long do you think that Donald Trump is going to let this fly? Because I'm of two minds on this, right? Because here's the fact of the matter. We know that Donald Trump loves nothing more than attention. We know that Donald Trump can be the only, right, king of the hill. And so Elon Musk rolling in and wielding, right, his sword, is that going to sit real well with Donald Trump when all of a sudden he starts to realize that guess who's consuming the headlines? Guess who people are really referring to as the president-elect? Because I, for one, believe that Donald Trump's downfall will in fact be his ego. It obviously won't be any of the fucking court cases, right? But it will in fact, I think, be his ego. Here's my other mind about this, and you all tell me what you think. Maybe Donald Trump just doesn't care. Why? Because all he needed to do was win re-election for all of his cases to disappear. He already received presidential immunity from the Supreme Court. His cases are all but done. You all probably saw the breaking news today out of Georgia, the last case standing, the RICO case, right? To show all of the ways that this organized crime ring was put together in order to overturn a free and fair election in 2020 with their fake elector scheme and all of that. Well, the appeals court has decided to vacate the decision by the lower court that said that Fani Willis could stay on the case, right? Even after her improper relationship, which she did have. It was improper, but also we live in a time of no fucking rules. But evidently, if you are Black and a woman and have some type of power, you are subject to rules. But Donald Trump? Nah. All of the MAGA Republicans? No. So right now, her team is going to appeal that decision, but that is not looking like it's trending in the right direction, nor is there somebody who can take on the load of this case that she's been working on for the last 3 years. Point being, folks, is that Donald Trump already got everything. Christmas came early for him. It came on November 5th. So is it possible then that Donald Trump actually worked out a deal with Elon Musk? Elon Musk wants power, could not possibly run for president of these United States, right? Because he's not from here. Also came into the country illegally, but again, story for another day. So he works out a deal with Donald Trump. Let me run the show, right? I'll be your shadow president. We'll, grift off of this government for as long as we can, empty the coffers into both of our pockets because, Elon Musk, much like Donald Trump, what they share is an insatiability around greed. And Donald Trump gets to do what he's always done, sit on his ass and do fucking nothing except golf and hold court at Mar-a-Lago. So he doesn't have to have the responsibility of actually trying or pretending to run the country because he's given the keys over to Elon Musk. So I'm of two minds of this, friends, that this may be the plan, which is that Donald Trump really didn't want this job. I don't think Donald Trump ever wanted to be president, to be clear. I just think that he wanted the title. He wanted the power, but he didn't want to do the job. He's never held a job in his entire life. They propped him up on television for The Apprentice. They didn't even use his real home because, as the creator says now years after the fact, it was too shabby for television. They created this entire smoke and image, right? That we all bought into, which was bullshit. But of course, he didn't tell us, the creator, until years after the fact when he's like, oh, Donald Trump is a danger. And oh, by the way, he's not that rich. And oh, by the way, we all did this for ratings. So he gets a win-win, right? Elon Musk runs the country into the ground like he's done all of his other businesses. They grift off of it. They get to pretend that they have all of this power. They wield it until basically they end up turning on each other. That's actually how I see this going. It's kind of Shakespearean, but they don't read, so they wouldn't know that. Elon Musk goes on to say, right, in this piece, so shut the government down for 33 days. And he says no bills should be passed by Congress until January 20th. None, zero. And then he tweeted elsewhere, quote, kill the bill. And then his final piece of it was to threaten the House Republican members and say this, quote, any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill deserves to be voted out in 2 years. Y'all. So basically, Elon Musk said, fall in line with my agenda because I have no problem spending my money, right? Which your House races are pocket change for me, finding a new candidate that will lick my boots and follow along with everything that I say. So now the question becomes, dear friends, who is actually more dangerous? Donald Trump or Elon Musk? My answer, Elon Musk. Unelected, doesn't have any responsibility to constituents, isn't trying to get reelected because he was never elected to begin with. He has more money than God. And he has courted favor on both sides of the aisle. So, MAGA has a new king. And here's the other thing that's happening. Oh, Rand Paul, just being out in these streets, floating the idea of Elon Musk being Speaker of the House. Oh, yeah. And when he was conjuring up this idea, which has been floated before, of somebody who is not actually a member of the House, right, being the Speaker of the House, he says, wouldn't it be great? Because like heads will explode. Folks, they have no desire to govern. This entire administration, this entire regime, their mantra is own the libs. So Rand Paul is not saying, oh, like Elon Musk would be the best person for the job and he'd whip Republicans into shape. He's like, no, wouldn't it be funny? Because they think that this country and their job is a fucking joke. And, here's the thing. Let me read this to you from Axios. Between the lines. The Constitution does not specify that the Speaker of the House has to be a member of the chamber, though they always have been. Non-representative names have been floated over the years during Speaker elections. Rand Paul has long been an advocate for slashing government spending, though he is in the wrong chamber to have much say over who will win the Speaker's gavel in January's floor vote. Folks, it is quite possible that Republicans axe Mike Johnson, who Donald Trump has once again also threatened in public and said that, if he's stern and stands strong and does his job, then he'll keep his job. Meanwhile, you have folks going around town like Representative Macy saying, he won't vote for Speaker Mike Johnson for Speaker of the House come January. And when asked what would bring you to vote for Mike Johnson for Speaker of the House, he said, quote, a Christmas miracle. Y'all, the circus is lined up and ready to go. And folks, they haven't been gavelled in yet for their new term. And Republicans are already showing that they are a shit show. Also, staunch Republican Chip Roy, staunch MAGA Republican, oh, they're coming for his ass too. Because guess what? He actually wants to pass the continuing resolution to keep the government funding. And now they're coming for him. Leopard face. I swear to God, they are going to eat each other alive. Because they're already sending out a barrage of tweets in the world about Mike Johnson and Mike Johnson being too soft and nobody backing him. And so Mike Johnson, by the way, is set to certify the actual election come January, and we may end up in the midst of a constitutional crisis as well as a government shutdown all before January 20th rounds the bend. I just cannot. And this is where I say, y'all, pop your popcorn, pop a bottle, get your mocktails, and just watch it burn, because they are set. They are set on dysfunction. And this is what we know. And so when Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was giving his presser today, he was asked by reporters, well, will Democrats line up and vote for Mike Johnson in order to keep the wheels on the train? And Hakeem Jeffries uttered one word: no. And I'm like, oh, so maybe the spine is returning to the Democratic Party, because they always want to be the quote unquote adults in the room. And it turns out that Mike Johnson is that Hakeem Jeffries is like, nah, they can, we're at the find out part of the fuck around. And so my whole thing is like, I do not want Democrats to be the adults in the room. I want them to let this shit play out. Let it play. Let's see how long Elon Musk stays around. Let's see how long Mike Johnson stays around. Let's see how long it takes all of them to literally start cannibalizing each other. Because I do not want Democrats to bail Republicans out of a goddamn thing at all. Just sit on the sidelines. Because here's my other thing too. Here's what I think, folks, the role of the media should be moving forward, is that I think that the role of the media should be to start referring to Elon Musk as President Musk, right? Not talk about Donald Trump at all, right? And talk about what President Musk thinks, who President Musk is going to be meeting with. And we'll see how long that flies before Donald Trump starts throwing plates and ketchup at the wall. Because again, there can only be one king. There can only be one mob boss. So I say, the best thing that we can do now, I don't know, maybe it's to start an internal civil war in the Republican Party and then sit back with our popcorn and watch them eat each other. Because I like popcorn and I definitely like action flicks. So let it implode. I don't care. So the last thing that I will say on this before I switch gears is Elon Musk, who's clearly in charge. Has anybody seen JD Vance? because it looks like JD Vance got on the wrong billionaire's lap. Instead of being Peter Thiel's lapdog, who put him in the Senate in the first place and bought his seat, he clearly should have been kissing Elon Musk's ass, because if President Musk is running the show, Donald Trump is second in command, where does that leave JD Vance? Someplace between Vivek Ramaswamy and Tulsi Gabbard, I guess. But it doesn't look like he's the one that's next in line. We will see, won't we? So up next, the thing that we are going to see is how Republicans turn on a Cheney. Y'all, Liz Cheney is in trouble. And, let me just remind folks, the only thing that I've ever agreed with Liz Cheney on is the fact that the insurrection really did happen. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy and needed to be stopped. But outside of that logic, Liz Cheney has voted with Republicans and voted with Donald Trump in his first term over 90% of the time. Where she drew the line was on January 6th. But how Republicans are about to play her and call for a criminal investigation, this shit is wild. Now, do I feel bad for Liz Cheney? Some folks are saying, well, it sets a poor precedent. We are so far past precedent, miss me with it, right? And Liz Cheney has more money and more power and more access than God. So we actually don't need to feel bad for Liz Cheney. We need to just pay attention to how Republicans move, because they usually run with the same playbook. And so in order to actually stay ahead of the game, instead of being in reaction zone, we should pay attention to how they move on this. So look, the wrath of Trump. House Republicans map a case against Liz Cheney. President-elect Donald J. Trump has never been shy about his desire to see his enemies punished, but he often shows a measure of caution about taking credit for potential prosecutions himself, because he's a mob boss. So it's always a, wink and a smile. It's never directly saying, go do this thing, because you don't want to get caught up. Only people who are criminals operate like that. Everyone else uses email and sends texts, but not Donald Trump. Needless to say, in the report that was released on Tuesday, House Republicans said Ms. Cheney should face an FBI investigation. Remember, who does Donald Trump want to appoint to the FBI? Kash Patel. And who major conspiracy theorist and loon. What did Kash Patel say? That we need to deal with what? The enemy within. So Kash is getting ready to sharpen the knives and go full throttle on Liz Cheney. But here's the thing, folks. You're going to say, well, she didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter. You investigate, you make a mess, you trash the person's reputation, you make them impossible for them to get a job, do a thing moving forward. That's the goal here. And frankly, they can change whatever rules that they want. They can plant whatever evidence that they want, right? They can do literally anything. So they say, basically, they accused her of tampering with one of the committee's star witnesses who gave damning testimony about Donald Trump. So who is the person that they are saying that she colluded with? Folks, Cassidy Hutchinson. Now, if you remember, take the time machine back with me to the January 6th committee hearings. Cassidy Hutchinson was the bombshell witness that told us about Donald Trump and throwing the ketchup against the wall and saying, take me to the Capitol, and yanking the neck of the Secret Service agent. She told us that Donald Trump said, what? remove the magnetrons. They're not here to harm me, even though she told us, right, that Donald Trump knew that the people in the audience at the Stop the Steal rally were armed and dangerous. And she told us, Donald Trump said, no, they're not here to harm me. Remove the magnetrons. And then pointed that armed mob to where? The Capitol building. So they're trying to not only discredit, right, Liz Cheney, but they're also trying to discredit Cassidy Hutchinson and the bombshell testimony that she gave, because what she was showing us in that committee hearing was intent, right? Because the question was, Donald Trump could have played dumb and been like, I had no idea that those people were armed. I had no idea that they had the tools to build a fucking gallows to hang the vice president of the United States. She's the one who was just around the corner from Mark Meadows' office where he was burning documents. So what they are trying to pull here is that she was coerced, she was a tainted witness, to discredit her and to charge Liz Cheney with criminal tampering. Y'all, 2025 has not even started yet, and we are off to a bang. So the other piece is what Donald Trump then followed up with on Truth Social, where he said, quote, Liz Cheney could be in a lot of trouble based on the evidence obtained by the subcommittee, which states that numerous federal laws were likely broken by Liz Cheney, and these violations should be investigated by the FBI. Y'all, we all knew that she was going to be the first on his list, right? And the thing is, again, I say, rules and the law don't exist. So we can't continue to operate in this mindset that, oh, well, she didn't break the law. She didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter. They can make it seem like she did a whole host of things wrong. They can drag her in front of committees, drag her family into depositions, do the most, because they have the keys to the kingdom. So when Donald Trump said that he was going to be their retribution, that he had an enemies list, and Kamala Harris tried to tell us, I'm going to enter into the White House with a to-do list. Donald Trump has an enemies list. Person number one. Oh, it's wild. We're in a wild place, y'all. And I continue to say, the regime hasn't started yet. We still have 30 days. This is the shit that they're doing now. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what the first 100 days are going to be? And this is why I keep saying to you, y'all, we're not going to follow the bouncing ball on this show, right? Because we're not going to react and drive ourselves crazy and ruin our mental health. I will bring you the news that is under the news. And that's why I'm saying bringing this all up today with Musk and Trump and the thing, because let me tell you something. There is going to be an implosion, and it's going to be wild. But we all know that when explosions and implosions happen, it doesn't just harm the people that are there. We're talking about the blast radius is going to be these United States of America. But what these people are signaling is that they have no desire for this government to function. That is why Donald Trump is putting people in place that are woefully unqualified, because it is not about fixing America. It is not about finding out what works best for America. It is about destroying America and then taking out all of your political opponents on your way out. That's the goal here. And so you would think, in knowing that Democrats would, start to create a plan, a strategy, start to show the American people that they are ready for this moment, start to really showcase what their pipeline of leadership looks like. And then we have this person. So here's the deal, folks. Nancy Pelosi was truly one of the best speakers of the House that this country has seen. In the first Trump regime, she really took that MFer and Republicans to task. And for that, right, and what she did during the Obama years, I applaud her. But the problem with Nancy Pelosi is that she is not reading the room. She is choosing to continue going along with the get along and putting people in positions of power that, frankly, should no longer be there. So when I saw this headline from the New Republic that said Pelosi won, the Democratic Party lost in sabotaging Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's bid for leadership of the Oversight Committee, party elders have doubled down on failed strategy. Folks, when you look at the list of those who are going to be the new ranking members of these really important committees, y'all, they're all in their 70s. Except for Maxine Waters, who is 86. Now, again, I am not trying to be ageist, because if these people actually had their ears to the ground and understood where we were and were effective communicators in the way that we need to see resistance and response to MAGA, then I would say, march forward, do the work. But the fact of the matter is, they're not. They think that they're going to shame a shameless party. They think that they're going to what? Find common ground and things to work on with people who literally put you in crosshairs. AOC is one of the most effective communicators the Democratic Party has. She knows how to go toe-to-toe with these people. Now, they're looking at her and saying, well, she's still young. She's in her 30s. Which means that unlike y'all that have been wrapped up in institution for the last several decades, she actually knows what it's like when you need a check. She actually knows what the people of her community need, what young people in this country have been asking for, that you all are ignoring and refusing to pay attention to. Usually, when folks lose an election, you have some fucking self-reflection and you say, what needs to be done moving forward? Democrats just fucking stay the course. The course is leading you over a cliff. But what I recognize is that the Democratic Party hates progressives. They hate them. And so we got to refer to these people as what they are, which is moderate Republicans. Because all they continue to do is fucking chase the Republican Party to the right, knowing good goddamn well that the policies that come from the progressive wing of the party are what the people actually want. And instead of lining up your effective communicators, showing the country that you know what's up, that you are preparing, right? your line of resistance that you're putting the Ilhan Omars and the AOCs and the Ayanna Presleys and the Jasmine Crockett's. Like, this is what the country looks like, and this is how we're moving forward. But instead, Nancy Pelosi moving the pieces behind the scene, say, oh no, we're just rocking with the septuagenarians. Give me a fucking break. At some point, you have got to recognize that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is insanity. Now, we can deal with one crazy fucking cult, but we cannot deal with another one that is so steeped in their stubbornness and their refusal to show up in this moment and realize that they may not have all the answers. So they actually need to start talking to people outside of their own echo chamber. And that means instead of poo-pooing and trying to sabotage the younger members of your party, you may want to get your shit together before they decide to organize and start the real Democratic Party that we need. Because that's all I'm waiting for. To be honest, I keep saying Republicans ain't built for, the Democrats ain't built for this version, this iteration of the Republican Party. They're not built for this moment. They don't get it. They're too busy trying to figure out how to ban TikTok when TikTok was one of the major organizing tools of this past fucking election. They're too busy trying to find common ground with white nationalists than they are about lifting up the future of their party and saying, you know what our role is going to be moving forward? We are going to mentor the fuck out of them, right? We are going to be right there lockstep. But you know what? It's time that we put this group out front. This is the cohort that we need. This is the vibe that we're going for. Y'all, it really is not that goddamn hard. But you see, you have to want to relinquish power. And what we know about older white people from this generation is that they do not. If it requires you to get out of said job so that your grandchildren can have an opportunity at creating their American dream, these motherfuckers are still holding on to their jobs, wondering why their grandchildren are still living with their kids. Because you haven't given up. You haven't let go of the reins. So, you know, I got to tell you, Nancy Pelosi and this move this week has signaled to me that the Democratic Party is in trouble. And if the Democratic Party is in trouble, democracy is in trouble. If people are tuned out from this party because they are not tuned into the people, what chance of survival do we have for this democracy? Headed into 2025, y'all, we are really headed into a brave new world. And it is dark. And it is stark. And we haven't even begun to see the manifestations of the plans that Donald Trump and Project 2025 have in store and what they're actually going to put into action. But knowing that it's even coming, and the fact that Democrats seem more unprepared than ever, y'all, God help us. Because they ain't it, you know? And I more and more each and every day, I'm like, we all we got. So when I tell you during our Thursday shows, which is our call to action, right, that folks need to be organizing, right, in their own spaces instead of looking to see who the leaders are. If you're looking around and you see no leaders, dear friends, then that person is you. And it looks like organizing at the school board level, organizing at the city council level, getting to know your actual neighbors so that you can take care of each other and not turn on each other because Donald Trump says that you shouldn't trust the person down the street, right? The only way that they are able to win is by turning us on each other. And so our collective resistance can look like community building. It can look like, what can I do to get active? If that means, right, I love books. Making sure that like the city council passes legislation that says there will be no banning of books, that no one person can ban a book from a public library, then get that done. If it looks like ensuring that children are learning the truth and you want to run for school board, then do that. If it looks like creating safe spaces in your community for the undocumented who are going to be attacked moving forward, then do that. We have got to figure out what is within our power and then take that action. But what we have to recognize, and what is hard for us to swallow, is that we are leaderless at this moment. There is not one person that we can look to that I can say, oh, this is who's up next. It has to be about the collective. It has to be about what we are able to create together in this dark time, in this dark period. My other call to action for you all before I close out for today. We spoke about what was happening in South Carolina with their egregious bill to essentially sentence women to death for trying to access abortion care, to changing who is considered a person, so that if you were to get an abortion, that would be considered murderer, making you a murderer and then punishable by death. That's what South Carolina has introduced. And while we may think, oh my God, this will never pass, the point is not necessarily for it to pass the first or second time around. It is about creating a copycat domino effect and getting this back up to the MAGA extremist Supreme Court. That's the goal. It worked with Roe v. Wade. It worked with affirmative action. And it is possible that it will work this time around with turning women who want to control their own bodies into murderers, right? So my call to action today is for you all not only to continue to figure out what organizing looks like in your community, but in particular, looking at South Carolina, whether you live there or not, because I'm telling you, we need to care about the collective and understand there is nowhere that is safe. South Carolina may be the first to introduce something egregious and disgusting like this, but we know that the rest will follow. So support reproductive health organizations in South Carolina with volunteer time if you are there, or your dollars, right? Nonprofit organizations like Fact Forward, Planned Parenthood, and the South Carolina Office of Rural Health all need and welcome your support. Each of them are a lifeline to our neighbors in South Carolina suffering under this draconian legislation. And this is from Let's Address It, the Substack that I quoted yesterday from Qasim Rashid. So we have the opportunity to get things done. We don't have to feel powerless, folks, in this moment. We can be taking action in our own communities every single day, right? So as we look towards the end of the year, and we think about, again, what is needed, right? What is required? What is going to be required of us in this moment? You don't have to think big, but we all need to start doing small things day in and day out, because that is what changes the trajectory that we are on. Is that if we all find the different ways that are needed for us to resist, and resistance looks different for everyone, but everyone must choose their mode of resistance. So I hope that as you all prepare for the holidays, one, that you're able to get some rest and you're able to spend beautiful time with family and friends. But I'm not a person that sets resolutions, but I am a person that sets my intentions for the year ahead. And I hope that in setting your intentions, that you think about 3 ways that you want to be involved in the resistance in 2025. That can look like, you know what? I'm going to host a monthly dinner party, and I'm going to invite my neighbors, and I'm going to engage in conversation so that we get to know one another. It could look like supporting folks that are running for office. It could look like going to volunteer and teach or read at your local school. It could look like helping out in so many different ways, but formulate, dear friends, what your resistance looks like, and also what your rest will look like. Because we can't keep going, right, without taking a break, because we will break down. So that is my call to action for all of you. And as I say, as we wind down this show today, please, if you are liking these episodes and liking this channel, do like, comment, and subscribe. I am doing my best to get to 10,000 subscribers before by the end of the year, and I need your help. So continue to share the show, post the shows, and encourage people to subscribe, because independent media is going to be where it's at, because we've already seen how the kowtowing to Donald Trump has already begun. So we know who we can rely on and who we cannot moving forward. And so last of my programming note as we head into the holiday season, and I'm going to ask that the fabulous moderators also post this, and I will post this so that folks can be aware. The show is going to take a bit of a break, but I will still be posting videos and shorts. So here is the schedule. Tomorrow, we're back here at noon for Democracy-ish with Wajahat Ali. So tomorrow, noon, Wajahat Ali and I are going to be running through the headlines on Democracy-ish. On Monday, I am coming back for my last live show for the Danielle Moodie Show at 5 p.m. Eastern on Monday, right? And then following that, until, dear friends, January 6th is when the Danielle Moodie Show will return live, right? So you come back for Democracy-ish on tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. You come back for the Danielle Moodie Show live on Monday, December 23rd. Then we are taking a break until after the new year. And the Danielle Moodie Show will be back live on January 6th. So do not worry. There will be videos and shorts that are posted every day. or most days, I should say, not every day, but most days. So there will be content that is coming in, but I also need a break. I also need a break and need to spend some much needed time with my family and my friends, and I need to recharge um, for the new year. But I will not leave you alone. And yes, for the person in the chat that said Woke AF will also be ending at the end of this year, it has been an incredible pleasure of mine for the last 7 years to host my podcast, flagship podcast, Woke AF Daily. But I'm really excited about turning my energy to this YouTube channel, to creating really important content that you all need and that you deserve, frankly. So I love Woke AF, and you will have wonderful shows and reflections during the holiday week, but then that show wraps on December 31st. And yeah, I appreciate all of you so very much. I'm excited. I will say this. We are headed into really dark times, but I am excited about the community that is being built here on the Danielle Moodie Show. I'm excited for all of you showing up here. I love looking into the comments and watching the conversations and the community and the hellos to people and the how you're doing and seeing people form relationships. I love it so much. And so I'm greatly appreciative to all of you, and I'm excited about this year moving forward because we're going to get through it and we're going to move forward together. And that's how it's going to be. And we're going to grow, and we're going to, be strong and powerful together. And yes, the funny thing, I will be back on January 6th, the Danielle Moodie Show. But don't worry, folks. So live tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern with Wajahad and Democracy Ish. Live again with the Danielle Moodie Show on Monday, the 23rd. And then we take a break for the holidays, and we'll be back rearing and ready and rested to go and do what needs to be done. Again, I want to thank all of you for your amazing donations today. Thank you so much. Each and every dollar, pound, Moroccan dollar, all of the things, that Canadian dollar that you all send, euro, matters. And it allows me to continue to do the work that I do, because I do not get paid for this, but I show up to do this work because it is important, and it is necessary, and it is my calling. And so thank you all very, very much for the resources that you are providing for me. I really appreciate it. All right. I am out of here. Tune in tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern for Democracy Ish, and back Monday for the last Danielle Moodie Show of the year. And then we get back to work. As always, power to the people and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane, and in these extraordinarily dangerous time, dear friends, stay safe. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Appreciate all of you. Be well.